up a little bit. All right, and we're live, ladies and germs. And tonight, we're going to be reviewing the Craftsman Truck Series race at Daytona. They finally posted it today, and just got done watching it. And it was a pretty damn good race. Probably the best race of the entirety of Speed Weeks, honestly. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into things and get this over with because I got other stuff to do. So, this is the feel. There we go. Alright, what's happening, ladies and germs? This is the PackerMan, and welcome to tonight's edition of The Fuel, special Tuesday night edition. Because tonight we're going to be reviewing the Fresh from Florida 250 from Daytona for the Craftsman Truck Series. I didn't get to watch it on Friday because I had to work. So I didn't get to watch the race in full until tonight when they finally posted the race on their YouTube channel. And needless to say, I think it was a pretty banger race, to say the least. I think it was easily the best race of the entire weekend. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. So stages 1 and 2 were 20 laps. Ty Majeski starts from the pole, now driving the 88 truck that was once piloted by Matt Crafton, but Crafton retired this off-season. So now Ty Majeski has moved over from the 98 to the 88. There were a couple of Cup Series drivers in this race, Michael McDowell and Carson Hocevar, driving for Spire. They were in this race. And McDowell gets pushed out to the early lead, good clean start, and he leads lap 1. Hocevar goes to the inside of his teammate to challenge for the lead. We had some 3 wide in the mid-pack. We had a couple of lead changes between Hocevar and McDowell, but then we had our first caution on lap 6 when Cletus McFarland, yes, that Cletus McFarland, gets loose off turn 4 and spins to the inside wall, and that's the end of his race, unfortunately, after just 6 laps. Several trucks come in for adjustments. We have a restart on lap 11 with McDowell as the leader. And then for about the next 8 or so laps, Hocevar and McDowell kind of lead the front of the pack 2 by 2. And we get 7 pure lead changes out of that. As I go 3 wide behind him, Eckes tries to go up to the outside 3 wide to challenge for the lead. And then Tanner Gray goes up to challenge for the stage win. But Carson Hocevar just barely nipped him at the line in a photo finish to win stage number 1. So we come to stage 2, and by the way, they took 7 laps under the stage break to get everybody lined up, and it's just like, it should not take that long. I even put it in my notes. Pacing for 7 laps on stage break when the stages are only 20 laps. The first 2 stages are only 20 laps, by the way. Is severely retarded. That's something they need to fix. But everyone comes in for service under the stage break, and Hocevar wins the race off pit road. But John Hernimacek actually stayed out. Actually, there was like 6 or 7 trucks that stayed out. And so John Hunter Nemechek leads the start of stage 2, but Hocevar goes to the top with his teammate McDowell and powers back to the front for a 10th pure lead change on lap 29. And then Taylor Gray, yes, there are 2 Grays, on the inside line trying to challenge Hocevar for the lead. And then Daniel Hemrick had an unscheduled pit stop. I'm guessing he had some sort of penalty. Maybe he had a pushing violation because you can't stay locked to the guy in front of you. It can't be doing like locked together bump drafting, basically. Tandem drafting, as it's called. So I'm guessing that's why he got penalized. I'm not sure. But Lane Riggs takes over the lead, and then Chandler Smith takes the lead on lap 35. So we had the Spire Motorsports cars and the Front Row Motorsports cars, or trucks, I should say, trading the lead back and forth. But then we get our second caution on lap 37. Jake Garcia gets loose off turn 4 and right into Tony Stewart. Yes, that Tony Stewart, who is driving the 25 truck, because Dodge Ram is back in NASCAR. I think they have like 5 full-time trucks this year. So that's pretty cool. But this was unfortunate because it took Jake Garcia and Tony Stewart out of this race, which is unfortunate. And Chandler Smith wins the second stage under caution. So we get to stage number 3, which is 60 laps. Everyone comes in for service, and Nick Leitz wins the race off pit road on the 5 truck. So he'll lead the start of stage 3. But Majeski gets to the front on the restart, and Leitz basically gets drop kicked all the way to the back. 4 wide in the mid pack, and I was like, yikes, that was kind of crazy. Chandler Smith gets caught in the sucker hole and gets knocked back a couple spots. John Hernimacek and Hocevar start coming hard on the outside lane, and they eventually get to the lead, with John Hernimacek taking the lead on lap 51. Then Hocevar takes the lead on lap 53, and then John Hernimacek takes it back on lap 58. Then we get our third caution on lap 60 when Hocevar has the first of several flat left rear tires that he has suffered, going down the back stretch and then spins out in turn 4. Everyone comes in for service at this point, and we have a restart on lap 64 with Justin Haley back in the truck series and driving for Colleague once again. And he is the leader of the race now. Tanner Gray in the 15 gets pushed to the lead on the restart by John Hernimacek, but Haley gets it back on lap 66 and actually leads for the next little bit. Then we have a choo-choo train starting to form on the high lane as they're basically getting set up for the finish. Grant Infinger then drops back with a flat right rear tire. A little bit of door slamming back in the pack as the train gets bigger. And then the 97 of Jason Kitzmiller and the 34 of Lane Riggs, both with flat tires. And it's like, what the hell is going on with the flat tires tonight? And then we have our fourth caution on lap 81 as Hocevar spins on the front stretch after another left rear tire goes down. So I don't know if they're doing like low air pressures, but there were a lot of rear tires that were going flat. The back half of the field comes in for service, so we have a restart on lap 85 with Haley as the leader. Tanner Gray gets pushed out to the lead on the restart. Hocevar spins again off turn 4, no flat tire this time. Looked like he just got loose and then came across somebody's nose and spun out to the inside. No caution this time though. There was lots of shuffling inside the final 10 laps. All of a sudden, it became a roulette wheel as to who was going to be at the front at the end of this race. But McDowell got back to the lead on lap 93, and Christian Eckes took a turn at the lead. And then McDowell got back to the lead on lap 95, and then we had our fifth and final caution on lap 97 when the one of Taylor Gray spins off of turn 4. It was a 5-truck accident that included Gray, Dawson Sutton, Minnie Tyrell, Travis Pastrana, and Spencer Boyd. They were all involved in this wreck. So we're going to overtime, the first of the season. So it does kind of dilute the finish a little bit, but I'm not going to let it take a hit too much because the finish was pretty insane. So McDowell was the leader on the overtime restart. Caden Honeycutt gets pushed out to the lead, coming to the white flag. McDowell tries to cut underneath the John Hunter Nemechek off of turn 4, but makes contact with him and spins to the inside. He actually took another truck with him. I couldn't really tell. It was a white truck. No caution flag. So we're coming down the back stretch. John Hunter Nemechek gets pushed out to the lead down the back stretch by Eckes. And then as they come off of turn 4, they fan out. And it was basically a you pick 'em. There were 6 trucks under a blanket coming to the checkered flag. You had Christian Eckes, you had Gio Ruggiero, who actually won the ARCA race the next day. John Hunter Nemechek, you had Ty Majeski and Ricky Stenhouse Jr., but it ended up being Chandler Smith all the way on the inside, 4 wide at the line, getting a huge push from Majeski to sneak through and take the checkered flag in the Fresh from Florida 250 at the Daytona International Speedway. One thing I will say, Fox Sports' coverage was kind of ass from what I heard. They went to commercial with like 10 laps to go. Even though it was side by side, that's still kind of ridiculous. And by the way, Jamie Little, I mean, she's excellent as a pit reporter, but as somebody in the commentator's booth, like she's not good. The call of the finish was absolute ass. It really was. So I think they need to get Jamie Little out of the color commentating booth, put her back down on pit road, and put somebody else in, because her commentary on, in these races in the commentary booth, it's just ass. I'm sorry. That's just how I feel about it. But that being said, Chandler Smith, huge victory, and kicks off the season as the points leader. So, and a huge last lap pass for the win. So, we come to the statistics. The green flag passes were not available because they didn't show up on Racing Reference. But there were 32 overall lead changes, so the second most of the weekend. 20 pure lead changes in this race, 5 cautions, and 1 overtime. So all in all, a pretty damn good race, and I think it was the best race of the entire weekend. So as a result, my final rating for the Fresh from Florida 250 will be an 8 out of 10. Could it have been better? Absolutely. I honestly wish that the finish would have been, had a run longer than 2 laps. I just feel like the overtime's just kind of diluted a little bit. But, it is what it is. The finish was still good. The racing was still good. Lots of shuffling around, lots of lead changes. They did have a little bit of fuel saving in Stage 3 when they got in that choo-choo train. But it wasn't overly egregious. Lots of flat tires. That's something that they should probably take a look at, because it was definitely a little unusual that we were seeing a lot of flat tires. Some seemed like they were due to contact, but others, it just seemed like it was just they were going flat just because. It was just kind of weird. So that's something I think they need to take a look at. But that's going to do it for this edition of The Fuel. Got the Truck Series in. Daytona Speed Weeks is complete. So this coming week, the Cup Series is at Atlanta. And I think the O'Reilly Series is there as well. I don't know about the trucks. I'll have to check their schedule and see if they have something going on this weekend. But I know they're going to St. Petersburg the next weekend to support IndyCar, so that's going to be fun. Let's see what happens there. But that's going to do it for this edition of The Fuel. Thank you very much for watching. And until next time, this is the PackerMan signing out. See you later.